My name's Kirsten Johnson, and I'm pleased to be speaking with Mark Simmons here. So Mark, why don't you just jump right in and tell me a bit about yourself, what you do, and who you're with?
Sure. I'm the Chief Executive of CORD, which is a British-based peacebuilding organisation. And I'm also here as part of the EU CORD network, which is a network of European Christian relief and development agencies.
Wonderful. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about what CORD's role is here at the World Humanitarian Summit and how you've sort of found it so far.
Well, our role is the same as everybody's in a sense, to try to understand how best we can move forward with the humanitarian system that's clearly not working as well as it could. I think the summit will provide a useful reference point that we can refer back to in the future and say, you know, those commitments that we made or that we hinted at, those recommendations that were made, how can we take those forward? I still feel like the humanitarian world is looking a little bit too much at physical need and not enough at social need or spiritual need or emotional need. So I kind of wonder in all of this where the love is a bit, for the individual.
That's a wonderful point, actually. Nobody's brought that up yet. I think that has a lot of substance. In fact, maybe you can talk a little bit about what CORD might do to meet that need, or what you're already doing. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, we try to do, in some ways, a little bit more in terms of how we see the person. So how can we view the person as an individual? How does an individual access fullness of life? How do they really thrive? What do they need to flourish? So not so much what do they just need to survive, which is important and a crucial first step, but then beyond that, what do they need to flourish? What kind of society should they be living in? What does the government need to do to enable that to happen, and so on and so on and so forth.
And that's a bit of a juxtaposition with humanitarian crises when we're so focused on meeting basic needs. So where does CORD fit in there?
Well, yes and no, because a lot of crises occur because governments haven't really met their responsibilities to their people. So I think there is a link there between why a crisis exists and how we can stop it happening again. That if we were to enable communities to flourish, if we were to enable a society to grow where people could thrive, then governments would be better placed to look after their citizens. There would be a more flourishing, kind of enriching life for everybody, including those responsible at the governmental level and those who have rights and responsibilities at the community level. So I think the two are linked.
Right. Now, we're in day 2, the final day of the summit, and I'm just curious if you feel that you can come away with any kind of statements or insights into where the summit has taken us and maybe where it's going to go in the coming months and year.
I think there's been some good steps forward, probably. There have been some good commitments and recommendations. There have been some interesting speeches and sessions. I think a lot of people have said what we probably could predict that they would say before the summit. So how much has changed is not really clear. I think there's been some good movement on including faith leaders. I think we have become a little bit secularised in the humanitarian world because we tend to be from a secularised global north in many ways, and in most of the countries in which we're working have a strong faith basis of one kind or another. So recognising the role of faith communities and the role of faith in people's lives as part of the whole person, I think has moved forward at the summit a little bit. And I think it's exciting to see so many people gathered around one core theme that interests them all, in which they have a shared interest. So from a networking and dialogue point of view, from the relationships that are built up here, I think it will really help to move us forward.
Those are wonderful points, and I think that your point around the global South being so, faith is such a part of their culture and their context, and sometimes we're very secular coming from the North. I appreciate that point. I think that's a really good one. And so what's your plan for the rest of the day, for the last part of the summit? Are you intending to attend any special sessions, or?
I am, yes. There's a special event at 3 that I'd like to get to on Lake Chad. We're starting a program in Lake Chad, and I think the mix of environmental pressures, the challenges of migration, the challenges of livelihoods and employment and so on for people in that area, the incursions from Boko Haram, the role of the Chadi military, all of that stuff coming together I think is really interesting, so I'm hoping to get to that. But I'm mostly here for the rest of the day to support PHAP, to make sure that we can get some interesting interviews with people as they wander past the stand.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for your interview.
Thanks.
And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.